It's not what he did.
No, it's not what like it's not that he did a lot of like he was a hard worker. He did all this too.
He loved doing it.
Yeah, but his
Yeah,
personality,
love doing
you can't
it.
find something like that, you know. And so I think that's why we're gonna miss him so much because we gotta take people like that, you know, certain people like that, and we gotta try to just let them guide us and see what they did.
Rest in peace to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rest in
and
peace.
so
Rest
for
in
me,
peace,
man,
teacher.
bro, what I would tell you guys is that we're Hmong. We didn't grow up. We didn't see anybody like us on TV until Tujer came on, you know. And then we started seeing people like, wow, we're like, wow, he's funny. He gets to sing. He dress up like, and he's accepted by all, you know. And so some of us, we do things and then only Hmong people would like it and not many people would like it.
They do, like Hmong people, they do things to try to impress other
Right.
people. And that's one thing that with our podcast, when I started, we're not trying to impress nobody. We're just putting the facts out there. We speak our opinion and people like it. You know, when you try to impress everybody, you're not going to impress nobody.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I realized and I picked up. And so that's why when we do our podcast, what we talk about, people get offended sometimes.
Yeah.
But we keep going because the thing is, it's our opinion. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
that you can get emotional about it. And if you get emotional about it, you're going to attack us. Just move on.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, you know, and I think that's why when you do it that way, bro, a lot of people are going to come on and be who they are.
Yes.
More.
That's
They're
what we
not.
want.
Yeah. And I think that's what we need, bro, in our community. We need Hmong people being real instead of
Yeah.
Hmong people being, oh, like, I got to watch this, I got to watch that.
Yeah.
We need Hmong people to come on and say, you know what, this is me. I'm struggling. I'm doing this. Or even if I'm not struggling, I have this thing that I know could help us. And I want to come on your podcast, but I don't want to be like, oh, put a mic in my face and be like this formal thing. I just want to come and chill and talk about it, you know? And I think that you guys are, I'll be honest with you, Shore, you guys are like making that movement, you know, for people coming on and sharing their ideas, but sharing it in a way that they feel like they could just, you know, trust you and let it out in a way where they don't have to, you know, set up, you know, oh, it has to be formal. They could just come be themselves. And I think that's a movement that will inspire and shape people in the future. I really feel that way. And I think you guys are like right now, you guys are on the verge of doing that, going over that, you know, with the people you guys are bringing on and just the way you're setting up your podcast, you know.
Oh,
and
thank you, Mika.
yeah. And so I think that, you know what, you guys are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I think that, but the only thing I do want is just like, man, I hope you guys keep this, you know, this format.
Yeah.
Because I love this just relaxed format, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have done it without the crew. I couldn't have done it without them. Because if it was just me, who's going to watch me talk, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some people might, but if it's a group of guys, now it's different opinions.
Right.
And so if we all agree, then, hey, we all agree. If we don't agree, well, let's talk about it.
Right.
And so that's one thing that people liked was that we had a group of guys instead of just one or two individuals or just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, bro? Since you're saying that, what I've learned, like those like meetings, right? Like you know, like AA meetings and stuff like that. People are like not even AA, but like recovery meetings and stuff. You go in and they're like, "Why it's the same thing over and over again?" No, the people that come in there, it's always new all the time. The stories that you could pick up. That's what's interesting to me. You know, hearing other people's stories, and I think that was the very beginning stage of my recovery was just hearing other people's struggles. You know, different people. So it's not the same all the time. You know, there's people struggling. We're all the same. We all go through the same issue, but we all took different routes, you know. And I think that it was so interesting for me to see other people go through their life. And now I think that's why I want to give back is because, you know, I had to go back in my life and my childhood and see what was wrong, what I did wrong in my life, so I could fix that in order to move into the next chapter and be a Christian in my life, in my next life. Because if I don't fix those, I can't move on. I can't heal those, you know. And so up in Duluth, I really had to go back with the mental health and talk about what happened in my childhood that, made me who I am. And so in doing that, I had to start from a clean slate. And in order for me to start from a clean slate, I had to go back and do all that. And so after doing all that, and then finding Christ after that, a new slate, that piqued my interest in that part. Like, why did I become who I am? So now, what I tell these people is that, you know what, if you're a parent, you got to be very careful what you do in front of your kids. Even if it's a simple divorce, you're not getting along with your husband or wife and you get a simple divorce, you got to be very careful what that kids see, because it's so influential in their lives, that one day they might have to come back and heal that. And so we as adults, it might not seem like anything, but we got to go back and really fix those issues, really be critical of what we do in front of our kids so we don't have to go fix those issues, And so that's what I've learned. And so before we end this, I just want to give a quick shout out to the guys up in Duluth, TC, my guy Bill up there, for just giving me a new life, a new perspective of being a Christian and living this life and saving my life, a new life that I have now, because I was going in the wrong path. My life, I was not seeing it worth anything. I was just gonna end up on the streets, end up homeless, and end up maybe dead somewhere, but now thanks to TC up in Duluth, I have found a relationship with God that has helped me be compassionate, want to give back, want to share, want to really push the kingdom, and to really want to run across this country, because I couldn't do it without them. I couldn't do it without any of you guys. I couldn't do it without Mitch from Fort Thumbs. I couldn't do it with Telemon Podcast. So I just want to give a quick shout out to TC too. So they were up in Duluth. They're my family. They're a big part of my walk, and they're my family. I'm gonna be up there on the 26th for the gala, and so I'm gonna be up there shouting up Four Thumbs and Telemon Podcast, and I'm gonna represent, because man, these guys, they really, we're here. They're like, I'm nobody, but these guys, they make me seem like I'm somebody. So I will never ever forget this opportunity that you gave me, Shaw, to come on here, and Mitch too, man. That dude's doing great things, and so. But man, bro, yeah, I just love being here, and that's, I can't wait to run. This is going to be something that I'm dedicating my life to. The preparation is going to be tough. The run's going to be tough, but I know that this is something that God has called me to do, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to be obedient, even if I don't want to. Even I know it's going to be tough. I know that it's going to be long. But one of these days, when the miles are long and the nights are difficult, I'm going to hit up my guy, Shore and Chad from Telemon. I'm going to be like, bro, I'm out here like in some highway in the middle of nowhere, and I just want to talk to you guys, for some insult. Yeah, I'm like, it's raining, so, so it's good to build this foundation so you have people that when, you're out there struggling, you could, rely on them. And so, but, I think that one other thing I really want to talk about is, if Shaw and Chad don't mind, about how God has helped me,
Yes.
the religious.
I was going to ask you that too.
The spiritual aspect of my life, because for me, I've been a shaman my whole life.
Okay.
My parents are very traditional. My uncle, he's a shaman. So I grew up like that, and I'm not saying that's wrong or that's bad. I think that that's up to the individual. For me, growing up, I never really I felt like I was lost, because I felt like, even though other people, they were doing that, like following those steps, like my age, I felt like we were just expected to do that,
Right.
and
Like,
so
why-
it didn't.
why are you doing
it didn't do anything for me. I was like, why do we it didn't. But once I started going through this rock bottom and figuring things out on my own and having that spiritual relationship with God, that's when I started feeling things. That's when things started changing in my life that I could see. like little miracles. For instance, I'll tell you guys a story. I was up in Duluth. We were supposed to go on this retreat, right? And when you go to these rehab, this TC, they only give you $120 stipend because you don't work. And so I received my 120, and the retreat cost $70. I mean, yeah, $70. So I either go buy food with that, like go to Walmart and buy my necessary things with that, or spend it on a retreat for that month. And so I decided that I wasn't gonna go. But then I prayed about it over and over, and every intention as I have now about this run across the country, every intention I prayed was to go on that retreat. And so I prayed about it many times, and I talked to my chaplain about it, and then I decided to go. I was like, I'll just give Walmart for a month. I'll go. So I ended up going, paid the $70. I only, I went. I had a great time. I've never seen 1,000 men at Lake Geneva. The Christian Center over there holds like 1,500 in their chapel. I've never seen, like, that blew me away. 1,000 men like worshiping at the same time. And I felt like the presence of God so strong in that it like gave me goosebumps. It still gives me goosebumps to this day. And so after that, I came back, and the experience that I had changed my life, changed my perspective, changed my spirituality. But I was down. I didn't have any money. And then the next day I went to chapel. Every morning we have to go to chapel. I went there, and then the chaplain pastor, he got on the podium, and he said, you know what? So we got a guy that's just gonna reimburse all your money back. And so boom, what I prayed for, it didn't just get answered, it get answered, plus I got everything back in return. And so that, what I'm saying is that started my trust in God, because before I didn't care. I was like, who is this guy? I don't care about God. He's not going to do anything for me. I started building this relationship, this trust with him. God started showing me more, and I started trusting him more, and things started working in my life. The no cravings story, that was just another step that I trust thing, that I started building these moments, these miracles, some small miracles that I hear about it so many from other people. I didn't think it was going to happen to me. And so when these little miracles started happening for me, I started building my spiritual relationship. I started trusting God. And before I knew it, things in my life started changing, and doors started opening for me. I started back running. From running, I graduated with honors from TC in Duluth. I was a servant leader. They encouraged to go to TCLI, which is a leadership institute leading into ministry school. And so I came down here to do that. I was accepted, and I'm almost done with that. And so all these doors couldn't be open, and the running couldn't not come back if I didn't have that spiritual journey that I went on. And I really truly believe that was intended for me. And so from going from all that, I developed, when I feel a certain way, I don't even feel like when certain things come on me, that's when God is telling me to do it. That's why the reason why I'm here today running is because that same feeling, that peace, that calm is coming over me every time I think about this journey that I'm about to go on. So you develop this pattern of like how God talks to you. Maybe he doesn't talk to you or verbally. He doesn't, some people don't get that, but you know what? God will show you hints and clues and confirmations to show you what he wants you to do, or how he wants you to serve or push his kingdom. And so I really feel that through the pattern of knowing how he's working in my life, this is something that I can't escape from. Like how I can't escape from, taking all those steps and coming to TCLI, doing all these things. I could have just went back and wanted to go work, but I had the same inkling. And once I pray about that, and so when you have that pattern, that is why I'm running, because of the spiritual compassion and love that God has given me. And now I have that in me, plus everything else. So I want to give that back And now, even if I didn't want to do this, I have to, it's something that I can't escape it, brother. I just got to get up and I just got to do it, even if it takes my life. Why? It doesn't matter. I'm still going to go to the kingdom anyways, So, there's many places that I've gone, like the camps and stuff, and I would run, and I would wake up at like at 3 in the morning. I would run in the middle of, like, we went to Indiana, right? And I would run in the cornfield. I wouldn't, if it was the old me, I would have said, no, I'm not going to do this. But I know for sure that, you know what, I just stop and thank God and say, God, if I trust you, you got to get me, through this. I'm going to run this and you're going to get me through it. So that gives me a sense of confidence just to finish what I've started. And you know what, for me, that is so big. And so I really feel like, I really, know for sure that whoever's going through this, they could, if they put their trust in God, He could pull you out of anything, And so that's how my spirituality became so strong for God. Because when I first started my walk, I didn't even want to I believe in God. I just wanted to stop drinking, and that was it. I didn't really, I thought God was for Miga people.
Yeah.
I thought that God wasn't for me. I was like, God's just for Miga people. They're not for me. I'm a shaman, like that's how I was raised. And but I knew that if I kept going that way, if I kept living that lifestyle of how I was living, I was going to die, And so I had to go somewhere. And I went to TC, and luckily when I got up there, it wasn't luck. It was it was already, the calling was there already. When I went up there, that's when I started building a relationship, and that's when I stopped drinking, and that's when I didn't have the cravings, and that's when my life started coming together, not just for me, but coming back to serving people, getting out there, serving the homelessness. And so I really feel like sometimes you might be gifted at a certain things, you might love a certain things, but how can you use that instead of for yourself, but for others, And I really feel like with running, this is something that has been, I love, God has put in my life. And if I could just use that to help people and do this and serve the Lord, I'm going to do that first before anything. I could come back and work as a recovery coach and help others. Mm-hmm. But this is something that God's been calling me to do. And so that is how God has changed my life from when I became an addict, through my addiction, through my worst time, the worst time of my life, and how I was lifted up. And I've seen others lifted in the same way too. There's many people that are lifted. My brothers over at TCLI, they've all been lifted. And so I think that that's the only way you're going to bring your hopes and dreams back, and to surrender. And in surrendering, you're going to get more plentiful than you could ever imagine. And from a small scale, I got a taste of that, just from that little retreat trip. Yeah. God has taught me that, you know what, I give you this, you sacrifice it, so I'm going to give you back much more in return. And so that was a valuable lesson that I learned. And that's the trust. And there's many more to confirmations and different things in my life that God has done. And my chaplain up in TC Duluth, he would say, I can't unseen the things that I've seen, And so, you know what, I'm just saying, we're adults. You could choose whichever faith you want to go in. But I'm just telling you that, you know what, for me, I was a serious addict, like drinking was, I lost relationship. I was about to get married. I lost relationships because of my addiction, And so it was to the point where there was no coming back. And the only person that really got me back was God. And so if He could do that for me, to where I am now sitting with Shaw and Chad talking about running across the country. Can you guys believe that? If He could do that for me, imagine what He can do for, other people. I thought I was just like a nobody, I thought I was just a drunk on the east side of St. Paul. My whole family hates. If God could do that for me, imagine what God can do for, people, and all you got to do is just have that faith. You don't have to do anything else, you know. Just be obedient, have that faith, surrender, and God will give you everything that you need, that not what you want but what you need, and it would be so plentiful that you won't want anything else. You'll be fulfilled, because I chase everything else. I chase women, I chased money, all those stuff. I chased party, fun, and all those things never got me anything except for momentarily happiness. I was happy then, that's it. But I always wanted more, you know? And so God gave me the gift of, like, you know what? I'm going to put running your life first so you could get that part of your life built up, and then I'm going to bring you over to TC and build you up spiritually so you could work for me and you could push my kingdom and go and help people. And so that's the whole thing that I want to promote as I come onto your podcast here, Shaw and Chad, is just that, you know what, that's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I'm pushing this so hard, is because there's a purpose in my life now, you know. I'm not just living for myself. There's a bigger picture. There's a bigger purpose, and that is love, loving ourselves, loving our community, you know? And I've never been that person. And so, man, guys, I'm just so thankful to be here talking to you guys about it.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
So one last question. How did you get your name?
Okay.
Free.
Yeah.
Mefree.
I never heard that.
Yeah. So, it's a funny story. You know, so when I came to the U.S. from Laos, right, I was 1 year old, right? And but from there, it was like in the 70s. So they couldn't spell it on the, the Social Security
That's right. Yeah.
card. And then they're like, then my uncle actually gave me that name. He was already here in the U.S.
Okay.
So my dad's name was Fong. So he's like, Fong, since got to son, they cannot, you guys are free.
Free.
Me free. No, so, and then my dad at
So
that time,
what is
like,
your mom name though?
I don't know if I want to tell that here.
Oh, man,
you
you
know,
don't
if
have
I
to.
say it, then everybody's.
They're gonna make fun of you.
No, they're gonna call me that name.
Oh.
Everybody. No, but I'll tell you guys off air.
Tell us off.
Yeah, but it's a very simple name. You guys be like, oh, that's it, you know. But back then, in the but it was hard. You know, they were like, oh, okay. And my dad was influenced. My dad was very motivated because he's happy and excited because, you know, you're in a new country. And so he's like, yeah, let's just change it. So that's how I ended up my name. And I'll tell you guys a funny story too. When growing up, right? So we would always write our name on stuff, right? I see other kids writing their name, and so my family, they always call me Free. So I wrote my name on my basketball. And I put it, and I put it on the front yard, and it was gone. And I was like, oh, I learned that lesson real quick, so never to put my name on there. And then that showed me that, you know what, your name's a little different. You know, like nobody had that name. And so, you know what, I'll tell you guys this. Like growing up, I hated that name, bro. Man. I hated it.
Oh man, free means Hmong, man.
Yeah, but now I'm just like, you know what, I'm already like. I'm past it's. I don't care anymore, you know.
Yeah.
But back then I was just like, I hated it because kids were just like, you know how kids are. They just tease the heck out of you, you know. And so I used to hate that name, and I was like, why do my parents like? I wanted to change it, but now as I get older, I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to deal with it. I'm just gonna keep it, you know. It's different, you know. So at least it's different. Nobody has that name,
yeah,
so you know. Man. So I think that that's how I got it, you know.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, if I told you my name, I only have one family member that still calls me that. He's my really, really old uncle, and every time we have family gathering, he would come and tap me on the shoulder and say my name and ask me how I'm doing. I would just be like, I'm good, and I looked around, everybody be looking at me.
Oh, it cannot be that bad, man.
They're like, no, it's not a bad name, but they're like, but they never heard me call that. Nobody called me that name, you know. So they're just like, why are you like accepting that? Because my parents told me already, you know. So I knew it. It was so. Yeah. Other people were looking weird. They're like, "Why are you letting him call you that?" You know, that kind of look, you know. And so I was just and he would be the only uncle. He's really old now, but he would be the only one that remembers that my name and calls me that. Nobody does, and so that's how I got my name. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that name. You know what? I'm gonna try to get Mefree right on our shirts. Mefree. At least somewhere around on our shirts, because
sure. Do I have Telemon on my?
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I saw it, man.
Yeah, because I want.
I was surprised.
No, if it was on there, I was gonna ask Eric if he could get it on there because, you guys, I want to, because you guys are inspiring. Besides the fact that it's on me, I know it's going to be tough. And so I could look onto those things. That's why I wear these,
Yeah.
because my faith and all the things when I'm struggling, when you're running, when you're getting up like all the dark times and you're just looking at it, people are like, why are you wearing all those? Because it means like I got to keep pushing myself,
Yes.
like, and so that's what it means to me. So like having your name, on my shirt, it might not mean anything to anybody, but for me, when the times get tough, I could look onto it and be like, you know what? Those are the people that inspired me. I got to keep pushing on, And so that's why I wanted it. It's not because, oh, I just like it or no, it means something to me, And so that's why I want Mitch's name on it. That's why I want you guys on it because you guys are inspiring to me. And I could look at it and be like, wow, you know what? I got to keep going, I got to keep marching on because, those guys inspired me and, I got to keep going. And so through the, people could say anything they want when things are going right. But when things are going wrong, you need a lot of those. I've learned that from running, is that when tough times are hard, you got to really you got to
dig down.
Yeah. You got to really self-motivate yourself,
Yes.
You got to be like, you know what? Okay, I got to keep doing this because running. There's times when your body is just like, bro, I'm done, like you're on your own. We're done. We're out, like 20 miles, we're good. Your body's like, but what's interesting to me, I'll tell you guys is more than the speed and more than all the stuff about running, what I really like is what happens when the engine goes to E, and what are you gonna do about it? That's the thing that really pushes me is what else can I give? Like how could we get beyond that? That's when your mind has to shift into a different gear. And sure, you probably know when you're getting punched in the face, you don't want to go anymore, and you're like, man, bro, I just need to give up. But what's that? What happens? Where do you have to go to get that next level of like, you know what? Even if my body quits, I'm not. And you know what? There's not a lot of people that are willing to do that, and that's why I respect fighters so much because when their face is all bloody up, you just want to quit, bro. But yet, like, when I saw the Stephan Bonner fight, and they were just going at it, I'm like, bro, these guys are nuts. Like their faces, like, and they're still swinging for the fences. I'm like, bro, I think like these guys are just crazy, And I think that that's what makes them interesting too, and that's what makes people like. That's what I'm interested in is like, wow, when your body is saying no, how can you keep going? And where do you find that endurance? So for me, this is how I thought about running in my life. People ask me, what's your mentality for running? I say it's like breathing. Everything you do, it's like breathing. You know how like when you're drowning and there's no air and you don't care about nothing?
Yes.
Even if your brother's right there, you'll grab your brother and you'll be like, no, even you don't think about anything. You don't think about, oh, my brother is my family, like you don't think about all these safety things. You think about yourself. You think about surviving. You don't care if whoever you have to grab, whatever you have to do, you want that air in your lung as soon ASAP, right?
I think the 25 minutes up a long time ago.
So I'll just finish this real quick. So
I gotta head out soon too.
yeah, so I'll just finish this point real quick. So what I'm saying is that, you know what, when you gotta have it like you breathe, like when you're like that, to be successful. Like that air. That's the only thing you gotta care about is like breathing.
Yes.
Like whatever it takes. You gotta imagine that in everything you do.
So you gotta want it as much as you breathe.
As much as you breathe.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, because when you're drowning, you need that air. You'll do whatever it takes. So when I'm running, I would do whatever it takes for me to be successful in that. In order for somebody to be successful, you got to have that mentality. And I think that in everything you do, so when people ask me, how do I get to that point? I would tell them, it's got to be like air, like the air in your body. If you're just like, oh, okay, I have enough air. I'm okay. You know, I'm good. You're not gonna be successful. You know, I'm good. I still have air. You know, I could still breathe. But what if you don't have that air? What would you do beyond that? You know, how hard would you fight if that was your last breath and now you were drowning? You would do whatever it took to get that breath. And so before I go out, I just want to leave that. Just again, I want to thank Chad and Schwab for having me here. Four Thumbs, Eric, Mitch, California, and I'll be seeing you guys soon. Hog Masters, Moa, man, such a good dude, a Christian, and just a good person all around, helping me a lot through this journey. So I just, Moa, go get your pig over at his place in Hugo, Minnesota. And so my parents actually went there before I even knew Moa. And so he's got a great thing going over in Hugo. And again, Telemon Podcast. So that's it.
路你那我的古雷达，沙木沙拉不去就让不打，莫得应得错得就好个打，个呀呀个古去那个，路你那我的古雷达，沙木沙拉不去就让不打，莫得应得错得就好个打，个呀呀个古去那个。 我家路内那女孩手里那个开到裤，我家有这有那，我家莫弄有这的卡。